Hey loves, this is Bobby and I'm here with another video. And this is going to be a tag video. I am so excited to be doing this one. I love doing tag videos. I think they're so much fun. This is going to be the Bar and the Bookcase Tag 2021. This was created by a YouTuber that goes by the Bar and the Bookcase. I will link the original video down below. I was tagged by Pavio, who runs an awesome booktube channel called Attention. He has a really cool series of videos where he goes over and does like an introduction to some well-known like sci-fi authors. They are classic authors like Ray Bradbury, Kurt Vonnegut, Octavia Butler. I loved his one on Ray Bradbury. It got me to finally like, I need to read more Ray Bradbury. I loved Fahrenheit 451 when I read it in high school, but I never picked up another one of his books. I think I have like 2 or 3 of his books actually on my shelf, and I've just never got around to picking them up. I really want to read Something Wicked This Way Comes. So yes, his videos are really cool, but I really enjoy the intro videos. You get to know a little bit more about the author, like their history and stuff, but as well as some of their more popular books. His Kurt Vonnegut one was great. He has a whole video on Slaughterhouse-Five. If you don't know, that is one of my all-time favorite books. I even have a tattoo dedicated to the book, and yeah, I just really enjoy his videos. So thank you very much for the tag. I will drop his channel link down below as well as the video that he did for this tag. So this is 10 different questions. They are all based around different drinks that you would find at a bar. I don't drink, so I had to look up some of these. One of these though I didn't look up, and I don't know how to pronounce it, so it's gonna be kind of funny, but I probably should have done that before, but I didn't. So also, I did this a little different than I normally do. I kind of tend to like really look into it and overthink the prompts. I literally went with the first book that popped into my head when I read the questions. So these are kind of all over the place. So let's get down to business. For question number 1, it is an old-fashioned, and it is to recommend an historical fiction. I'm going to be going with Ring Shout by P. Djali Clark. I loved this book. I read it during October of last year, and it was phenomenal. This takes place during the height of the KKK when the movie The Birth of a Nation first came out, and all of the influence and stuff that had on the white community. And in this, we follow the story of these black women that they are going after these creatures that have infiltrated the KKK, and they call them Ku Kluxes. This does not paint the Ku Klux Klan in any way, shape, or form that they would be the victims of these monsters. No, they are able to infiltrate the KKK and be awful because they are attracted to the awfulness of them. Like, this is amazing, and the main characters, these black women, are so fucking cool. They are badass. We've got our leader of the group, Maurice, and she has this magical sword that helps her kill these things, and she's able to cross over into like a kind of different dimension, almost a cosmic horror type of monsters that do come from like a different universe type of thing. So it was really cool the way it was handled. But the other women in this group are badass. We've got like one of the girls, she's like a shit talker, and she's freaking cool. We got a fighter and everything. Like, it's so just awesome. It's action-packed, and the best thing about this is that it is a novella. This book is under 200 pages, but it feels like a full-length novel because of the amount of action and everything that goes in it. The horror in here is top-notch. It fits in so well if you enjoy cosmic horror, or even if you don't, like, it just, the horror aspects of it are really cool. Like the way the Ku Kluxes are described, because they have the shrouds on, but they're like, you can see the way the face is kind of moving under it. But yes, it is awesome. So you have these black women killing and beating the shit out of the Ku Klux Klan. So yeah, it is just pure awesomeness. This book put P. Djali Clark on my list. I need to get more by him. I'm actually looking forward to a book that he has coming out this year, so I can't wait to get to that. But yeah, check out this book. It is phenomenal and just so good. Okay, So for question number 2, it is Sidecar, and that is a book with a strong supporting character. I'm going with one that has actually multiple strong supporting characters. This has 3, and this one popped in my head because I loved the supporting characters like even more than I liked the main character, and I adored the main character, and I loved this book so much. And that is going to be Foul is Fair by Hannah Kaplan. This is a reimagining of Macbeth, but taken from the point of view of Lady Macbeth. This is a YA, and the way this is written is absolutely amazing. If you are able to do audiobooks, I fully recommend the audiobook for this. It is just like freaking magical. This does have a lot of trigger warnings. Please look into them. The author does actually include a trigger warning list at the beginning of the book, which is phenomenal. But we are following the story of a young girl named Jade. She, on her 16th birthday, decides, her and her friends, they decide that they're going to crash a party. And when they do, Jade does eventually get separated from them, and she gets drugged, and she eventually is raped. This doesn't go into explicit details of the rape or anything, but it is mentioned throughout. And this deals with rape culture and the privilege that comes from the fact that, you know, if you're well off, that you could literally get away with anything. Jade decides that after it, her and her friends, that they are going to get revenge on the boys that did this to her. And her friends, the way they go about the whole thing, because Jade, she had dyed her hair before the party. She ends up dyeing her hair back to her original color. She cuts it off. She ends up going to this prep school that they're all at. It's like a private religious school that they're going. So she goes there, but her friends, they slowly start planning on how they're going to get the revenge on these boys, or this whole group. And the way they do it is they stick with the very kind of, because her friends are the witches from Macbeth, and even though this isn't a magical realism or anything like that, this is like very much, you know, focal, just normal everyday type of thing, but the way they go about it is almost fantastical. But the way her friends pretend to be these, well, not even pretend, because they call themselves a coven, the way that they approach the whole thing of Macbeth with like that they're coming to get them, and all of the scenes with her friends. And the thing is, I loved about her friends is that when Jade starts getting in a little too deep, they are the ones that keep telling her like, hey, you need to, we see what you're doing and it's wrong, but not wrong getting revenge, just wrong that, hey, you're not doing this right. We're not trusting your judgment at this point. Like, I love that they kind of stayed on top of her with it, and she trusted them. Like, there was this mutual trust between the friends, and it's really rare to find that. Usually you end up with the someone gets mad at someone. No, like the way it's handled in here is so damn good. But like I said, every scene with her friends, they stole the whole show, and this plays out like a play. Like the way they do things, it's so just theoretical and like amazing. And then the ending was just, because the whole thing is that this plays on the fact, because these boys all come from very influential families, and she knows if she was to go to the cops, nothing's gonna happen to them. She'll get labeled a slut, and you know, it was her fault. Nothing will happen to these boys because, you know, boys will be boys type of thing. And the way they play that at the very end, I sat there like after it ended and I was just like, holy crap. I loved everything about this. I read Macbeth when I was like a freshman in high school, so I didn't remember very much of it, but the longer this went on, the more a lot of the details of Macbeth came back to me. But the way the author blended the two and the way she rewrote it and just like reshifted everything was so good. But the side characters in her three friends were just, oh, I loved every single one of them. Like, I was just like, holy, I was so invested in this. It was so good. So yeah, amazing side characters, amazing story. And I know a lot of readathons and stuff always ask for like, retellings or reimagining. I fully recommend this one, and I never see it mentioned anywhere, so yes, I highly recommend it. Number 3 is Manhattan, and this is a book set in New York. I have read this book twice. I absolutely love it. It is so much fun, and it just, the time period of New York is even better, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is the first book in the series. There is 4 and it is complete. This takes place in the 1920s in New York, and we get the full roaring 20s. We're following the story of a young girl named Evie O'Neill. She ends up getting into some trouble because she has the power of divining. When she touches certain objects, she's able to get secrets or things that are attached to it. She does this at a party in her hometown of Ohio, and it gets her into a bit of trouble. So her parents decide that they're going to send her to live with her uncle, who is a curator of a museum of oddities, and I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, but they did. And Evie is a very outspoken flapper girl. She thinks girls should be able to do what they want and drink and go party, and to let a girl like that loose in New York is probably not the smartest, but it made for an absolutely amazing book. I love this. This also has a supernatural element to it. Not just the powers, but there is this evil like dream that's going on. Like there is someone going around and killing people, but it is kind of like, is it real? Is it not? The horror in here is very creepy. I loved it. I've read this twice and it's amazing. This is another one where this has multiple characters. We get a whole list of them. They all kind of have different powers. Some do, some don't. But I love this series. I've only read the first two and I love both of them. I cannot wait to finish it. But yeah, you can't get more New York than New York in the 20s. It's just, and then seeing everything kind of just playing out, it is so much fun. I love the setting on this one. It's my favorite thing about this series. Like I love everything about it, the characters and stuff, but the setting is just like, yes. Okay, so number 4 is Bloody Mary, and that is a book that scared you or messed you up. I'm gonna be going with Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. This is one of the best ghost stories I have read in a really long time. I loved this. There is a scene in here though. Well, first, we are following the story of an aged rock star. He has a collection of like true crime kind of memorabilia type of stuff. Like he has a snuff film, he's got like someone was like a cannibal and he's got little things in there, and then he likes to buy, he buys all his stuff off online. Warriors give it to him. He gets the items different ways, but he finds an auction for a suit that is haunted, and he makes a bid and he gets it. And when he gets this, all hell breaks loose. And oh my goodness, there is a scene in here when the main character's name is Judas. Once the paranormal aspects start happening, there is a scene in here that has to do with, he's walking in a hallway. It's not really a spoiler because this is actually a ghost story. I'm telling you, this is a ghost story. I really recommend this one. But there is a scene where he is walking into the hallway once, and the ghost is this old man that owned the suit, and he's walking in the hallway and there's like a chair there, and he sees it like out of the corner of his eyes. He sees that there is someone sitting there, and the whole time is just him. I don't see it. There's nothing really there, and he's just like walks past it. But there is just something, the way that whole scene played out, it just made like my spine tingle. Like the way it was written, like it's just, you can feel the atmosphere of it. And anyone that's, you know, after horror movies or anything, like if you have to walk into like a room that's dark, you just like, oh, there's someone there, there's someone there, I'm not gonna look, I'm gonna turn the lights on, let me see, I'm just gonna like, you get that you know, tunnel vision where it's like I'm not focusing on anything. But like the intensity of that scene was just so well written. I really enjoy Joe Hill's writing. I absolutely adore his comic series Lock and Key. It is phenomenal. Yes, there is a Netflix show on it. The comics though are adult. The Netflix show really made it more of a young adult type of thing, but the comics are absolutely phenomenal. I've read Nosferatu as well. It was really good. But this one, there is just something, it creeped me out, and I don't get creeped out very easy, but this one, it got to me a couple times with the ghost. But yeah, this was so good, and then the ending and everything was really good. I just really enjoyed this one. Okay, so for number 5 is Espresso Martini, and that is a book that kept you reading into the night. This did not technically keep me reading into the night, but I took this more as a book that you could not put down, and I did not. I had a million things I had to do that day. I literally sat there. I ended up doing the audiobook for this one, but I followed along completely with the book because of the format of this, but I didn't stop. I didn't even want to get up to go to the bathroom because I didn't want to have to put the freaking book down because I was like just engrossed in this book because it was so good. And that is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. This is a sci-fi. This is another one where I fully 100% recommend the audiobook because the way this is told, it's told in interview formats. This starts off with a young girl. She falls down this hole. She gets a bike for her birthday and she goes out to go ride it and she falls down this hole. And when she wakes up in this hole, she is being cradled by this giant metal hand. And they eventually get her out, and then we flash forward to the future and she is now in college and she's trying to get funding so that she can find out more about this hand because after all the years nobody knows, you know, what the hell this is, where it came from. And she's like, if there is a hand, there has to be other pieces of this. And we take off from there, but the interview format is told from the point of view of this mystery man. We never get his name. He goes by Sir. He doesn't like to be called Sir, but that's what everybody calls him. And he is interviewing her and a bunch of different people once the story progresses and we find out what the hand is and are there more pieces. This is such a cool story though, but like I said, the way it's being told though in the different interview formats is really cool. It is full cast, but it is amazing. I fell in love with this. Like I said, I did not stop. I listened to this in one sitting because I refused to just to pause it because I'm like, I have to know what's gonna happen. I have to know. But yeah, I fully on recommend this. I have finished the series. It is a really good series. There are little novellas in between the different books. You can get those on the on the author's website. But yeah, I fully recommend this. If you want to get a really fast-paced sci-fi, I fully recommend this one. It was great. Okay, so for number 6 is Sazerac. I literally don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And it is a book that left you disoriented. This is the book that I absolutely hated. I hated everything about this book. And yeah, this was the first one though. This is like one of the only times where I was like, when I finished the book, I'm like, I don't know what I read at all. And that is going to be Bunny by Mona Allwood. This is I don't even know how to describe this damn book. If you want to know, I did rate this, I think 2 stars. You don't know what you're reading with this book. It's all over the place, but at the same time, I still managed to guess the ending. So it made no sense, but I still managed to guess the ending. And then it was just really weird. It had a lot of potential is what it is. We're following the story of a young girl, not young girl, she's in college and she's taking a writing course. And there is a small group for this specific writing course where they each have to like write different stories. There is a group of girls in this one though. They're like very much the popular girl type of people, even though a group of like 5 or 6 people, they're like the popular kids. They go by the bunnies. I started saying bunny funny because of this damn book. They are the bunnies and they refer to each other only as a bunny, bunny, bunny. And our character is the, you know, brooding goth girl that's different than other girls. But she eventually gets invited into this group of girls, and when she does, she finds out that their writing group has this very sinister magical realism aspect to it. They write these really dark stories that bring these bunny men to life. And these bunny men are like crazy and they like try and kill themselves, and it's very bloody. It's very horror. But the way it was written, it leaves you very like disoriented. Like, what the hell is actually happening? Is the magic really happening? Is our main character just, you know, need some help? And then the story kind of keeps going. I get literally from the beginning though, I guessed like the huge plot twist of this, and I was like, when it came about, it left me kind of pissed because I'm like, dude, you gave me this whole weird book and then you had a completely generic type of ending. But it left me confused. The only thing I took from this is like, I felt like I joined a cult and I didn't understand it. But yeah, so there we go. Do I recommend it? Not really, but it did leave me disoriented. I don't know what the hell was going on. Okay, So number 7 is a Long Island iced tea, and this is a book that is doing too much. Bonus if it works anyway. This book did work, but it's a lot. So I'm gonna try and go through this book really fast. And that is The Palace Job by Patrick Weeks. This book is amazing. It was 4 stars. I loved it. The characters are amazing. On that note of characters, this book has like 20 freaking characters, and these are characters that you actually need to like know. This is a heist book. We've got 2 characters that break out of prison. One of them, she was sent to prison under false pretenses, and her family home and everything and her sister have all been kind of taken in by the guy that did frame her. She eventually gets out with the help of her, he was her second in the army, and they're like best friends. They eventually get out, and she puts together a team that they are going to try and steal this manuscript that is a family heirloom for her, to get payback on the guy that did this to her. So we end up with those 2 characters. We have a tinkerer, we have a contortionist, we have a wizard, we have a death priestess and her talking warhammer, we have a unicorn, and we've got our absolutely adorable farm boy. So 9 characters alone make up the main team, because the sword or the warhammer actually does like talk and everything, and the unicorn is a shapeshifter and she's magnificent. And then we have the evil, you know, antagonist character. We've got the army kind of sergeant that he has sent to try and find what they are up to. And then the author decides to go and literally give a name to even characters that we're just saying hi to. Like, hey, Bob, there we go. They have a name. Everybody has a name in this book. And then we've got, on top of the heist, we've got magic, we've got dragons, we've got there's so much happening in this book. I was doing the audiobook. I listen to my audiobooks at 2 times speed no matter what. It's not a problem for me. I can't go slower or I lose focus. I had to slow this book down to 1.5, and I had to pull up the ebook on my Kindle app so that I could follow along, because I got so lost on who was who, what was going on. We've got airships, we've got demons, we've got just, if you name it, it was in this book. But it works. It was so much fun. Once I got everything kind of sorted out and everything, this was so much fun. It's action-packed. I really, really want to get into the second book. I do have the ebook. This is one where I think I will actually switch to the ebook or get the physical copy of it. I wouldn't mind having the first book on my shelf anyway, because I really did enjoy it. Like I said, I went with 4 stars. So I get the bonus points because this book was... holy crap, what the hell is happening? But at the same time, at the end, it worked out. It was fun. Like, if you want a super fast-paced, fun book, I do recommend the physical or the ebook version of this. But yes, it was great. It was just awesome. Okay, so for number 8 is a Negroni, which is a book with a love triangle. I hate love triangles. They're never even love triangles. That's the thing. I never understood the term of a love triangle, because for there to be a love triangle, it means that we've got our top person and they're in love with 2 people, and then those 2 people are also in love with each other. It never works out that way. Then we'd end up with like a polyamorous relationship, which we never get. We always just get crappy love. It's a love arrow. Love point? Whatever that is. That is what we get. But yeah, I'm not a fan of love triangles. I hate them. They are useless. They have never once worked, because you always have the girl everyone is in love with and the brooding one, and then the I'm a nice guy that kind of ends up being a dick anyway. But yeah, I don't like love triangles. This one though, I didn't like the love triangle, but I liked each of the characters. Is what it is. That's what made me think of this one, because this is one of the only ones where I actually had to kind of like think about, because I was like, I don't like love triangles. I hate them. And that is going to be Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Stormlight archive. We don't get the full kind of infatuation in here. This is more of everybody kind of meeting and stuff, but there are two male characters that do kind of end up falling for the same female character. I don't want to spoil anything because since this is the second book and we don't really get introduced into it until this book, I did like it because I liked all three of the characters. Of course, I didn't actually, you know, this was one of the few times where I didn't care which one she was going to end up with because I knew she was going to. But all of the characters in this kind of triangle, I guess, are likable. I loved all of them. So I was like, can we get a poly I know it's not going to work, but can we get a poly relationship? Because I love all three of them. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. This is one of the only times where I was literally like torn, like who will win? But I really liked the way it was handled though, and the outcome of it was still, I was happy with it because I liked all the characters. But yeah, I don't want to say who or anything because it could spoil it. The next prompt, and that is going to be number 9, and that is Bay Breeze, and that is a book with light, chill, heartwarming vibes. And this fits the name Bay Breeze very perfect, and this is like the happiest of books. It makes me ooey and gooey on the inside because it's so lovely. And that is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I love this book. This is the only time where I've ever like pretty much cried just happy tears because I just couldn't take the amount of fluff that was happening because it was just beautiful. We follow the story of a man named Linus. He is a social worker, but in this world he is a social worker for these kids that have powers, and that some are fairies. We've got a gnome, we've got a werewolf, we've got a very, very special case which I will not spoil because I did not see that coming and I was like, wait, what? I loved this. This is told like a fairy tale. It's sweet. This does feature a queer romance. When he has to go investigate because he's being sent to check to see how these kids are doing in this house. When he gets there and he meets the children's foster parent, their foster father, they kind of have this instant connection, but this is just sweet. It is like a rom-com with magical and just cute. I don't like kids. Like, I do not care for kids. I'm not that big of a fan of reading about young kids, but I wanted to adopt all these children. They were so cute. Everything about this is just lovely. It's, like I said, I like was getting ready. I'm like sitting there at work washing dishes, and I was starting to like tear up because it was just so beautiful and so lovely and wonderful, and the ending made my heart just go gooey, and everything about this is just lovely. It's super fast paced. I got through this. I started reading the book when I was going on my way to work. I bought the physical. This book is like never on sale. I'm like, I need to read this book. I'm gonna buy it. So I bought it. I was reading it on my way to work. I could not stop. I loved it so much that I bought the audiobook just so I could keep going with it while I was at work because I had to know what was gonna happen because I was invested. And it's just sweet. The audiobook is wonderful. The physical book is wonderful. Everything about this is wonderful. It's lovely. It's just a happy book. You know, it's a happy queer book. We don't have anybody freaking dying. There's no tragic tragedy going on in here. It's just a sweet queer romance, and it's amazing, and that alone just makes me all gooey inside again. I love this though. I love this book with all my heart. It's just so beautiful. Okay, so for number 10 is Dark and Stormy, a book that's dark, thrilling, and menacing. Bonus points if the setting matches. Definitely fits the bill, and the movie had been my favorite movie for years. After reading this, finally, I can no longer watch that movie because I can't enjoy it because the movie was like, it ruined the book. Like, what the hell? I kind of wish I didn't read this because now I can't watch the movie, and I love the movie, and that is going to be The Shining by Stephen King. This book is dark. This deals very, very, very heavily in one of the most realistic type of depictions of alcoholism I've ever come across. As I said, I do not drink. This is a kind of a weird book to add to this list now that I think about it. Like I said, I didn't plan these out. I just went with whatever popped into my head. But yeah, it's really dark, especially when it comes to the aspects of the alcoholism. Our main character, Jack, I am not going to go into what The Shining is about, because if you don't know what The Shining is about, then I don't know what to tell you. But the character of Jack Torrance, seeing the dark spiral that he goes down in this book is just like, holy crap, like I was not ready for it. And then thrilling aspect, yes, there is a definite thriller going on in here. We have the whole what is happening. Is he losing his mind? Are there actual ghosts? What the hell is happening in here? And then the menacing part of this is, holy crap, he's going to kill his family. They're trapped. And that's when the setting comes in here, is the whole menacing vibe and everything of the Overlook Hotel. And it's like, they're trapped there with him while he's slowly losing his damn mind. Everything about this book got me. Like, I was tense the entire time I was listening to the audiobook for this one. This is another one. I ended up like with a whole list of audiobooks. I don't know why. But yeah, the audiobook of this was phenomenal. But like the whole I got tense there. And the thing is, even though the movie is basically a straight horror, they left out some of the best horror aspects of it from the book, because the book is phenomenal. But yeah, definitely fits the bill. And number 11 is Martini, and this is a classic recommendation. I'm not going to be doing a one book recommendation. I'm going to be doing a collection, even though I haven't made my way through all of this author's works. He is one of my favorite classical authors now, and it's crazy because I've had his works on my shelf. I know all of his works because they're like some of the most well-known, and that is going to be H.G. Wells. This is the Barnes & Noble collection of it. Yes, it's very, very pretty. But this has, I don't know all or most of his works in here. It has 7 novels in here. War of the Worlds, though, I read it last year. I picked it up on a whim for a readathon, and I wasn't expecting much out of it. It is an older sci-fi, so I thought it was going to be like kind of dated and stuff. No, it was not. It holds up as a solid alien invasion novel. I loved it. It was just fast-paced. I was invested in the character. I loved the whole world. And then I ended up picking up The Time Machine, which is one of like the earliest kind of like time traveling novels, and I couldn't get over how absolutely amazing it is. Like, it holds up. The way the story was told was really cool. I love the fact that like none of the people in that book have any names. There's only one person that gets a name, but the way we see the breakdown of society and the way it's held, and then when we get to the kind of underground people and everything going on there, creeped me out. But it was just really well written. Like, these stand up. I read The Invisible Man when I was really young. I want to say I was in maybe middle school when I read The Invisible Man. I remember really loving it. I want to do a reread, and I want to read the rest of H.G. Wells' works because I just enjoy them. They're solid sci-fi that have they have lasted the time, test of time. So that wraps up the Bar and the Bookcase tag. I had a great time doing this. If you want to do this, consider yourself tagged. I never know who to tag in these things, but yeah. If you liked this, don't forget to give this a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll drop all my social media links down below. I would love to know some of your answers. If you don't do this tag, I would love to know some of your answers to these, especially any that scared you, like your Bloody Mary answer. I'm definitely interested in that one. But yeah, there we go. As always, I'm Bobby, and happy reading. Bye.